the hedging pressure is what matters, not the number of contracts, but the hedge required to lock in the risk or deflect the risk of that trade. Basically, what we do is we're watching the US options stream in real time. It is the largest market data feed in the world, as far as I know. It is a tremendous amount of computing power, and Bookmap obviously is adept at handling high frequency quote flows, and they're able to parse this. So we have a black box that resides on the Bookmap infrastructure, and the order feed, the quote data feed and trade feed comes into our black box, and then it's displayed in the Bookmap chart. So the HIRO indicator itself stands for the hedging impact of real-time options. As you can all probably figure out by now, we are monitoring and watching that real-time trade options feed. As all the trades come in, we display on your chart in real time the hedge impact of all those trades. But basically what you're going to see here is we have two sets of indicators. On screen, we have these little triangles, and the triangles are showing every single individual trade. And if it's green, that's a bullish trade took place. And if it's red, that's a bearish trade that took place. And then inside of the indicator itself is a number. And that number is showing you the actual hedge impact of each individual trade. So a big number, 1K, means this was a larger trade from a hedge impact perspective than a smaller number here like 495. So a bigger number likely means larger hedge, right? And that should have more impact to the market. The other thing to note is there's two types of trades that you often see here. One will be one very large trade, which is oftentimes comes through a bank desk. Someone might call, JP Morgan and say, I want to buy 10,000 SPX calls at the money. Well, it's likely that the the bank, in that case, is going to put the hedge up first and then print the trade. So you may see, in this case, a big jump or drop in futures and then an options print. And then the second way is through a sweep mechanism where you put your order into an algo, right? And the algo, in this case, would show you 20 very small trades or smaller trades, meaning 20 small triangles, and then you would see the hedge impact oftentimes come after that. So the indicator is displaying this data to you, right? It's translating this raw data into what we believe are actionable metrics and showing you these again, these hedging flows. So in this case, those are the on-screen triangles. And then below we have this cumulative indicator. The cumulative indicator is the rolling sum of all of these triangles, essentially. It's telling you how this flow is shaping up over the day. And it's also a convenient way to really see large trades that come in if you think that the on-screen indicators can get a little bit much or a little overwhelming. You can watch this cumulative indicator and see here, for example, it's clear that a big bearish trade just came in. Again, that this syncs with the original example I showed it in real time, and the hedging flows will likely come in on top of that. Every trade from a 1 lot up to a 10,000 lot, whatever it is, gets tracked by that cumulative indicator. This also works for single stock. We're looking at GameStop. This was obviously charted as a few weeks old because GameStop's now at 230, but you can see the stock here comes into highs, and then as it hits the highs, big bearish flow comes in, and with that, the stock will trade lower. So this is a big signal, obviously, that the stock was going to come under some pressure. And then when the HIRO indicator flattens out, I mentioned this at the top, but when this flattens out, it's simply saying that the bearish flow has stopped, right? It's not bullish flow anymore. It's not bearish. It's just whether it's neutral, meaning buyers and sellers are coming in, or it's simply that volume has dried up. Either way, this is now a neutral reading. So again, bearish flow comes in, the hedge flow comes off, but the hedging flow comes in to short the stock or sell the stock off. But then you have this point where the options flow stalls, right? And when it stalls, that can be an interesting time to watch the market because that can tell you, okay, the options pressure is now off. And that can oftentimes show points at which the market may mean revert or change. And we'll also see with our SpotGamma levels that the options flow in the ES will build into our big options levels, and then you'll see the options flow change or flatten out around those big options levels. It's been quite interesting to see how how our levels play out, right? Our daily levels play out with these, with the real-time flow that you see. We are not looking at the number of contracts that trade. We are looking at the hedging pressure for that trade. So you could have a 1 lot at the money SPX option that means the market maker needs to buy or sell $5 million of futures. Conversely, you could have a December, or you could have next week's, 5,000 strike call option. You could have 100 of those trade, and those are so far out of the money they require no hedge. In our indicator in real time is going to show the difference, right? Because the hedging pressure is what matters, not the number of contracts, but the hedge required to lock in the risk or deflect the risk of that trade. So I hope that makes sense, Colin. We don't care. Again, this has nothing to do with the number of contracts that traded. Strictly the hedge impact of that. And again, look at this. You can see this right here. This curls up, and we have a big stock pop right here. I mean, it's not a huge stock move. It's a good 40, 50 cents, but you can see those volume. The volume is how linked they are, right? Again, stock drops, big options trade. These two are often so in sync, and we see these big trades. Oftentimes, to see one or two times a day where it's just such a big trade comes in, and the market moves so much, and that wasn't news, right? Everyone else was scrambling around to figure out what just happened, and you go, look at this on my screen right now. I know that was just a big options trade, and I can play that differently than a headline hits, which really may shift the stock over the long time. If I know this is a big trade that hits, you're oftentimes going to get mean reversion like we just saw take place right here. The algo discounts trades that are too far out of the money or too small. You don't have to worry about any of that. That's why we're showing you the hedge impact, not the actual options print. Because as a trader, look, you don't want to parse through this information. I mean, look at this. You can see this bullish flow hits, up goes the stock, right? I mean, it's this happens all day long, every day. This is why I have complete confidence in showing this play out in real time, because look, let's watch the live feed, because this happens all day long, every day. It's really fascinating to watch. And, again, it's hedge impact, right? It's not number of contracts. There's a lot of vendors that just show on a pretty bland table, big trades that went off, and then you got to manually try to parse through yourself. What does that mean to me? What does that mean to me as a trader? What am I supposed to do with that information? Well, instead, you can see that play out real time on a chart. And as far as I know, I've looked around pretty good. There's nowhere else to see this stuff on a chart in real time. There's people that show you tables and give you some, again, fairly static data, but nowhere else. I think even to pretty big hedge funds. I mean, we've been talking to Bloomberg and the like, and there's just nothing else out there like this. So really, this combination of what we have built here with Bookmap is, I think, it's really pretty special. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke on everybody here. I think it's legitimately pretty amazing to watch. You can use this as a way to sort of, again, overlay. Okay, I know I want to get long the stock. Where do I want to sell? As long as the bullish pressure is coming in, well, look for these areas of big liquidity. But some of this, again, as traders, you all have your different strategies, and this HIRO indicator can really be a great overlay into that. I think there can be some interesting trade opportunities unlocked that are specific to HIRO, but at the end of the day, we're here to supplement what you as a trader know and understand, and what your strategy is. And I think this is a really powerful tool to add in. And here you can see, look, this is starting to flatten out. Now, who's to say a big call buyer doesn't come in right now, right? And this whole thing jumps up again. But I know if the weight of this flow starts to shift, and I was interested in shorting, maybe it would be an interesting place, because this is telling me this pressure is starting to back off a little bit. So are the odds with me? Are the probabilities with me? That's for you as a trader to figure out. But here's just, again, a great way to help make that decision, right? This is real-time bullish flow coming in here, and the stock, trades higher. And then this here is kind of not much. I mean, it's a little bit bearish, right? But it's flat, so there's not big orders coming in. So in a way, you can say, ignore the fact that this is bullish for the moment, right? Don't forget these readings here for a moment. This is now flatlined, right? If you were on a heart monitor, that would be like bad for you, and the stock does nothing. And now you can see, okay, look, big bullish trades just came in. So you want to read the context of the market overall, right? And that can tell you something. Is this majorly positive or majorly negative? But you're also right that you have to sort of make a mental adjustment along with the cumulative indicator to look at what's happening in real time, right? Because in real time right now, more bullish flow came in, stock pops. So you're exactly right. This is a little bit of a nuance on what I think people are typically used to reading in a cumulative indicator. This thing doesn't stop.
Look at that. I mean, that's just a beautiful move. I mean, like, it's really intriguing idea on these pullbacks. They've made a big move on options, and then look for that kind of flattening, and then, or even maybe slightly down. But look at the order flow, and then look for those pullbacks back up into I was looking for that 57, and then now it's already to 58. My God. And
Yeah.
it looks like it wants to go to 59. No problem here.
Yeah, if you look at the flow trading so far today, there are 25,000 calls are traded already so far today at the 60 strike for this upcoming expiration. So there's a lot of flow, options flow, just going right in at that 60 strike. So it's a lot of deltas being added there. It's a lot of gamma, right? Because as the stock goes higher, the dealer's got to buy more and more and more, and that peaks out at 60. So it's a lot of options. There's a lot of bullish options flow right now. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.